Okay, so this piece is looking at the Expendables 3 made back in 2014 and where it fits within Harrison Ford's total filmography. I'm of the view it doesn't really fit all that well, um, especially say when positioned against the two Jack Ryan films that he did back in the 1990s and even The Fugitive. Perhaps it fits more within that Star Wars and Indiana Jones template, but I hope you enjoy, see what you think.
Reluctant movie star Harrison Ford was approached to appear in 2014's high-octane actioner, The Expendables 3, when Bruce Willis's asking price proved galling. Lose Willis, gain Ford. Tears of frustration turned to tears of joy. The circumstances were reminiscent of that famous, if not infamous, turn of events where Alec Baldwin, flexing his star muscle with Paramount Pictures, promptly lost the character of Jack Ryan when an actor by the name of, Harrison Ford, expressed an interest. But The Expendables 3 is an odd addition to Ford's body of work. It doesn't quite fit. And in the lack of fit, it seems a relief that Ford's appearance amounts to a glorified cameo, lest the film be quoted on his resume too regularly. Like its predecessors, The Expendables 3 is a jam-packed showcase of famous Hollywood action stars of yesteryear. These big who's who casts are the series' principal novelty. Perhaps tellingly, Ford noted that he had never seen Expendables 1 and 2 before signing on to Part 3. Perhaps it felt a good move to join the financially successful Taken, Red, Expendables bandwagon of aging superstars in hard actioners. And it came with a pre-sold audience and only required a small number of days' work in Bulgaria. Why not? The first front-on view of Ford, at the film's 28-minute mark, is discombobulating. In an immaculate suit and with a slightly apprehensive air, one is instantly transported to director Philip Noyce's Jack Ryan universe, where Ford essayed the CIA analyst, reluctant man of action on 2 occasions. And in Noyce's universe, violence carries consequence. Look no further than the brilliantly simple and haunting satellite sequence in 1992's Patriot Games. And victory, meanwhile, is achieved without an air of gung-ho triumphalism. See Ford's expression after defeating his principal foe in said film. The Expendables has a different attitude to violence, though, and the third film has already well demonstrated this by the time Ford appears. While the violence is similarly rough, it's depicted with an unrelenting kill-em-all stridency and a no-remorse code of masculine conduct. The killing is ample, to say the bloody least, and bullishly creative, a fair reflection of Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Lundgren et al.'s back catalogue, but it barely reflects Ford's accumulated work. Until Ford joins the fray in the big finale, he sits outside the film's baser instincts, almost a beacon to other films you might prefer to be seeing. In total, Ford's filmography presents a very different attitude to violence. It's not just the Ryan films. Where the films got rough, they got moral, and where the body count was high, the action was bloodless and cartoonish, with a strict minimum of yahooing to accompany the killing. Still, it's interesting to see Ford navigate and exist within the Expendables universe, particularly in his aforementioned first scene, a standoff with Stallone. Observing Harrison play with the stock standard blustery action dialogue is unusually compelling, and again, the evocation of Ryan is there. A disarmingly smiley and amenable delivery soon dissolves towards a simmering rage, as if, In this confrontation, he is dealing with no less than the President of the United States himself, a.k.a. 1994's Clear and Present Danger. The dialogue and delivery could also play as a light parody of his powerful and affecting "I understand why he's doing what he's doing" piece from 1997's The Devil's Own. Ford's appearances in The Expendables 3, though, cannot overcome the basic formula of excess, and I suppose nor should they. Stallone has been extremely successful with films that trade on a certain excess. For instance, 1985's Rocky IV may not be a great sequel to the delicacies of the 1976 original, but as a comic book film, it is supremely effective and carries an emotional resonance. The Expendables films, though, feel a little too complacent in their formula and seem to offer little beyond the brotherly ribbing and macho bloodletting, although their central villains have been terrific. Mickey Rourke in Part 1, Jean-Claude Van Damme for Part 2, and Mel Gibson for Ford's installment. Oh, that Ford and Gibson could have shared some screen time. So, where does Ford's filmography intersect with these soldier of fortune preoccupations? Ultimately, it's all about Han Solo, with Ford in Sky Machine performing some unexpected aerobatics in the film's final reel. Ryan, alas, has all but disappeared by this point. Solo's famous "let's blow this thing and go home" line must have been a temptation. And when Mel Gibson's villain reflects on his days as an expendable, he remarks, "We killed a lot, but we saved more lives than you can possibly imagine," which might be a natural justification of any character associated with the rebellion of the Star Wars films. At the end of the day, it was great to see the cast assembled at the Cannes Film Festival. There's your chance to see Ford and Gibson cross paths. It also seems appropriate that Ford should appear in the installment that is almost entirely bloodless. With all the star power on show, Stallone decided not to add the post-production viscera in the hope of capturing a broader audience. Box office-wise, the plan seemed to backfire, suggesting that if you're going to decimate hundreds, you might as well throw discreetness to the wind. Of course, the box office woes might also have had something to do with an online leak that occurred prior to the film's release. Given the woes of Expendables 3, we highly anticipated that the Technicolor gore would return for Part 4. Indeed it did. We also imagined that Ford may steer well clear of the film. And indeed he has. Photographic evidence reveals that he attended the Hollywood premiere of Expendables 3, and unless he nicked out an exit prior to the screening, he has now seen an Expendables film.